Good morning, good morning. Hello everyone. Please let me know if you can't see or hear me. Let me get myself in focus. Okay. Remember, if you guys want to ask a question of me, make sure you put a whole bunch of emojis in the chat just so I can see them. There are a whole bunch of really good and interesting responses, particularly to my recent video about, let me just pull this up. Usually I have I read out some really notable comments from the last couple of recent videos. So me having made the video, you guys having had discussions underneath them, thereby furthering the conversation. But my recent video where I pose the question of when a girl says, well, if you love me, you do this, this, and this, that garnered a lot of responses. So it seems like that's a very ubiquitous and common thing that happens to almost every guy, is a girl guilt tripping him into do everything I say, otherwise you're not doing what a boyfriend should do. But it's interesting that a guy really doesn't blackmail a girl that way. He's just happy to be with her. But all of a sudden, guys seem to get that question. It's not even a question. It's a demand, really, as been pointed out by a couple of guys in the comment section. Davina, yeah, I do have coffee. So that kind of accusation, that kind of demand of if you love me, you do this, if you love me, you do that, is quite common. So much so that it's weird that a guy hasn't heard it posed to him who's dated, who's had a girlfriend, a relationship, a wife. So it really just does come to the surface of women really see you in their life as a role. Most women do. They don't. So it's kind of like, oh, as the boyfriend or as the husband, you're supposed to do this. Whereas from what I've seen, and maybe it's the people I hang around with, maybe it's myself, but most guys that I talk to, they're not posing to the woman as this female object, your role is this. It's, why are you treating me like this? This isn't fair. It's their accusations, if they do tell the woman some, it's, you're not acting like a fair human being. It's not, you're not acting like a woman in your role. It's not, you're not acting fairly. Why are you feeling like this? So his not even accusations, his problems are that she's being irrational and it's one-sided. So it's very different. In her eyes, he's not doing his job. In his eyes, she's not being a nice human being. So quite different. Am I in focus? So I don't look like I'm in focus. I know I'm. Okay, I have to get closer. Anyway, guys, I hope you're all doing well. Feel free to chat amongst yourself, but civilly, because YouTube will ban any comments or petulant conversations right away. They're pretty quick like that. So it's not me deleting you. It is, you're not allowed to. Sorry, not my fault. Christopher says, I'm married. Trust me, there is no happy life. Yeah. Today's topic, keeping her happy, and the thumbnail, happy wife, happy life. It kind of it suggests the same thing. It's all about her happiness. You wanted to get into this relationship because you have this burning desire to make a woman happy, and that's what's been missing from your life as a guy. No inkling that, no, you want to share happiness with somebody. You want to have a happy life with somebody. Very different ways we see things. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. I'll be reading a couple of the more notable comments from my recent video, if you love me, you do X, Y, and Z, because that's kind of the cliched phrase that's used to express this happy wife, happy life saying. What do you call it? So, okay. All right. All right, let's go to some of the comments from my last video. Josh, and basically all of these comments, I was going to do a couple of video comments, but basically there were so many really interesting comments under the "If you love me, you do this" video that all the comments today are going to be from that video, and trust me, there are a lot. Josh says, control is fear in disguise. Yeah. When anyone... Hang on, what am I doing? Sorry, guys. One second. Okay. Sorry, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. All right, back on track. Yeah, Josh, control is fear in disguise. When everyone's, you notice that in people, when they're really pushing you to do what they want, it's like, why are you so forceful? Why do I need to do this for you? There's a lot of fear behind their voice. They're not calm. They're not in control. They just can't calmly have a conversation with you. They have to debate you. You have to do what they say. You have to believe in what they say. You have to see the world through their point of view, or they just can't handle it, So, that's a pretty interesting thing to note. Now, that's the other thing. Guys need to trust their instinct. If you feel uncomfortable talking to another person, like whether it's a guy or say predominantly with a girl on a date, there's something wrong. Something for you comic book nerds is tickling your spider senses. Then listen to it. Feelings aren't just for women. If you want to rephrase what feelings are for you, it's your instincts as a guy. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And if it does, at least investigate it. Why? Why do I feel like this? What is it about this girl in front of me on a date? She looks pretty, but there's something that's making me nervous about her. It's not just that she's pretty and I want her. A lot of guys think, oh, it's natural to be nervous because you really like this girl. There is a difference. Really kind of take a look at, is it that you're just nervous because you like her? Or is there a lot of stuff that's not adding up? Or a lot of stuff that's not for you? For instance, you might really like a girl, but you can see that she's high maintenance. You can see by the way she talks, the way she dresses, the car she has, how she likes to spend all the time. It's very different to you. Your lifestyles are completely different, but you're just saying, oh, I like her, but it's just natural to feel an aversion or a resistance. That's probably your body saying, no, not for you. not for you. Vero says, keeping her entertained isn't fun after a long week at work. Yeah. If your relationship feels like a second job, I would suggest that you're probably incompatible with the person. I don't like giving advice, but I would say I would bet a lot that you're with an incompatible person. I always reference, even though your relationship with your family and friends is different to a romantic one, it's different, I get it. The structure should be the same for your own happiness in your life and your own contentment. If you have to be in boyfriend or husband role, in the same way when you go to work, depending on where you work, what kind of environment, you have to dress in a suit, you have to put on a very professional role, you have to act a certain way. Very little of you is allowed to be expressed at work. You can't just be Joe at work. You are the worker who works in this company, knows how to do their job, so on and so forth, who happens to be named Joe. Joe is on your name tag, but everything else about you is that worker, that role. So are you that way in your relationships with women, girlfriend, wife, whatever? That's why when you're with family and friends, you are Joe. They accept Joe, they like Joe, they get along with Joe, they like being around you, you like being around them, you want to give your time, you want to share, you're allowed to express your opinions. Pay attention to that. I think that's one big difference between me and a lot of the other Manosphere channels, is they talk a lot about the external. I'm trying to get guys to think about themselves, the internal, describe the external, reference the external, but in relation to yourself. So you don't live in relation to the world all the time. You don't always live externally. You live internally by referencing, like in relation to the external. So you're always consciously in the driver's seat. You know, my instinct says this. Why do I feel like that? What's my philosophy about dates? What's my standards? What are my boundaries? And remember, boundaries are no's. Like, past this point is a hard no. Not a, don't, please don't. It's no, absolutely not. I do not care. I love you to this point. You cross this point knowingly. I don't. It's the Robert De Niro quote in Heat, where he says, that's the discipline. And guys can make sense of their lives a lot better. They sleep better at night when they know they have a discipline like that. It's more commonly known as having a very strong moral philosophy. It's not being stubborn. If you're philosophically inclined, if you have a good moral philosophy, you know that it can adjust, but you adjust it rationally because it's a better model than the last one that you can work by. But if it's just, oh, please don't do this, or please, honey, I don't like it when you see other men, that's not a boundary. Anyway. Be aware of your feelings and your instincts. If your relationship feels like a second job, I would be really looking at your compatibility with the person you're with. Who Cares says, draw your line in the sand early in the relationship, almost as early as you can, set the boundaries so that later she can't say they were insecurities. Very good point. Very good point. If you leave a lot of assumptions in the air, when you notice things, you don't say them for your own sake, so you're clear and they're clear. If you both keep stuff hidden, which is what 90+% of people in relationships do, they keep a lot of stuff hidden because they don't think the person will love them if they let the real them out. If you have a thought, civilly, not like a crazy person, but if you have, and I'm saying almost anything anyway, if you're going to be with a person, even the crazy stuff, Let everything out. Let the person know what you're all about. Good, bad, fearful, unsure, whatever it is. And then at least you know that if it works, it's working because it's completely right. If it doesn't work, it worked because you're honest, and it's completely right that it doesn't work. There's no point saying, well, she looks externally hot, and that's the basis for living a life and having children with her and marrying her. But everything else, I'll cross my fingers and I'll shut my mouth and I'll shut my mind, and I'll only allow that to come out. I'll only allow that to come out in the shed 1 or 2 hours in the evening when the kids and everyone have gone to sleep. I'll hide my personality 99% of the week, and 1% on my own when no one's looking. I'll be a coward and let my real self out. What a waste of a life. Anyway, I get kind of passionate because, you know, I had bits of that, you know, I had a lot of that with me when I was younger. And I was frustrated that you come to the realization that what gives the right to anyone else to tell you you can't give your opinion, or you're not allowed to do this or that. It's like, you're not my mother. Like, I think a lot of guys still haven't severed the umbilical cord to their mother. That's a whole other topic. But again, that's an external kind of intellectual point. And people, there's too many guys that sort of latch onto science, and then they'll kind of get into psychology and, you know, reference Freud. But Freud doesn't matter if you don't absorb it, chew on it, and see how you can fine-tune your dials so you're freer in that respect. Anel says, I've been binging all your live streams and curious to know, what do you mean by never raise your standards above the person you're dealing with? Also, another question is, why are some red flags to avoid? What are the some? I would have thought never raise your standards above the person you're dealing with was self-evident. It's kind of like, it's basically, if your standard is, I treat people, I keep treating people well. That's my standard, no matter what. That is a bad standard, because there's nothing wrong with you giving the first step of, hey, how you going? And the person doesn't say anything back to you. And you say, I said, how are you? What's your name? Like you're trying to be friendly. And they just don't say anything once they start swearing at you. You can't hold the standard, I'll keep giving, I'll keep being nice no matter what. If a person shows you the standard objectively of I don't like you, or I'm not giving, if you're in a relationship where you give and you've noticed, like, oh, you're giving 20%, 30%, 40%, and then hang on a minute, I'm giving nearly 100% into this relationship. They don't come to visit me. Whenever I ask for anything, they never can. There's an excuse, or I'm too needy. Basically, they never give. Whenever they ask for something, it's expected, and they get angry that I don't. That's what I mean. You're giving more than they are. So there's nothing wrong with giving initially, but then when you assess, it doesn't feel right, that they're being completely selfish. They don't give anything, and you're expected to give everything. That's what I mean about raising your standards. Have your standards, but don't raise them above the people you're dealing with. And if you continually have to, I would suggest don't have those people in your life, because they're not compatible with you. But be reasonable about it too. But you know what I mean. That's what I mean. I would have thought it's self-evident, but I've had a few people ask me that same question. So that's basically what it is. Keep your standards, keep them as high as you can for yourself, as long as they're rational. But when you realize it's very obvious that what you give they don't return, and especially if they demand you give more than they will give back to you, don't raise your standards any higher. Don't have the standard of, no matter what, I always keep giving. If the other person does, great. If they don't raise your standard above them. If you start to notice after a while that they give zero, don't raise your standard above zero, or not much at all. I mean, depends on what you feel like doing, but if you thought they were a fair person, a fair relational person, a back and forth kind of, there's more equality in the conversation, then don't raise it above their standard, because you're wasting your time. You're just emptying yourself and they're not doing anything in return. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. It helps out the channel. It's free. Yeah, just the guy says, not all fears are pathological. Sometimes you got pretty good reasons to fear something. It's a survival advantage. Sometimes you do. Sometimes your survival instinct is overcompensating or being lazy. Basically, it says we're not changing. Even if you find your life, you've outgrown your life might be miserable, you might be lonely. Your biology, your safety psychology says, no, but we're safe. You might be sad or lonely, but who cares? You're alive, you can eat, stay here. Everything else is a risk. That's the conscious stuff you have to actually deal with and say, what's a real risk? What's a reckless risk? And what's just a calculated risk? Or really, there's nothing to fear except the feeling itself, because your biology's safety lazy. Ted 1775 says, human, how do you maintain masculine frame? You know what? I don't know what a lot of the Manosphere mean anymore. A lot of the phrases and monikers, like I said, when I first started making YouTube videos years ago, I didn't mind being referenced as an MGTOW. Now, I don't know what any of it means anymore. I just talk as myself. And about the only individuals out there I watch are also people that really don't identify as a group, because they just talk about their own opinions. They're philosophically inclined. They're not politically or group inclined. Those guys, they just have discussions in an echo chamber, as far as I can see. I mean, but that's them, and it's entertaining. But I suppose there's only so many times I can hear the same record being played over and over again. Hello to some of you new guys. Let's get another comment. Dan says, I've had the situation you were talking about. I tolerated it for about 2 weeks. Then I said, I'm done. To which she said, see, you don't love me. That's annoying. When they keep demanding, if you love me, you do this. If you love me, you do that. And so if you don't, if it's unfair, then it's like, see, I was right. You don't love me. You gotta love it, don't you? I'm being facetious there. Well, I did. Until you crossed the line by making me miserable. I had to decide if I love myself or not. Yeah, if you do you have any self-respect or not? If a guy doesn't respect himself, he gets more and more miserable. He feels very, very shame. No, very, very guilty, not shame, because it's, you know, you're acting wrongly by yourself. You don't respect yourself. You wouldn't respect yourself if you saw yourself acting this way. You wouldn't, if you had a son, you would teach him to do the opposite of what you're doing. I had to decide if I love myself or not and get out of the situation before I started hating myself. I still cared and still do about her after I left. I just care about myself more, and I'm willing to take the emotional abuse. And I'm willing to take the emotional abuse from her. The blackmail hurts. Boredom says, I usually did what was asked, but after a while that wasn't enough, and it became, if you love me, I wouldn't even have to ask. So now I'm single. Yeah, how lazy is that? If you love me, like, and they can't even think of a reason. It's like, they might as well just say, just do it. You know, like a parent when you're young, and it's like they say, you know, go to bed, and you say, why? And they say, because I said so, because it's too, they can't explain it to a kid that a kid would understand. And so they just, it's a waste of time, and say, just go to bed, rather than saying, you'll understand when you're older, but I haven't got time to try and explain it to you, and you won't understand anyway. Women don't even have a reason. They may as well just say, just do it because I said so. But look, I think it's also, I'm built from the cloth of, I'm intellectually curious, I'm philosophically minded. I want to know, it's got to make sense to me, and I like to have sensible conversations with somebody. If it's important, all the more sensible and rational and important it is. So if it's, say you're having a discussion with your girlfriend about a serious topic about your relationship, and it's kind of like, what do you think about this very serious topic? It could really mean something bad or good for us, depending on what we decide. And you're not interested enough philosophically in it, then you're probably going to be led by a lot of people, or you both will be led around by what society wants for you and not what you want for yourself. The weather, I apologize, is in and out. It's a sunny day, bright sunny day, but there's clouds going in and out too. So the image will continually get blown out, I suppose. Rod says, it's quite ironic how men have difficulty ending a relationship that isn't working, especially when emotional abuse is involved. It's our instinct to keep trying, yeah. Men like to fix things. There's the instinct where women like to feel safe, and men like to make women feel safe, and they can actually tell, they feel that she's happy after she is. So there's this instinct, whatever's wrong is like, I want to see if I can fix it. Women don't really have the instinct. It's like, why doesn't it feel good? If it's not feeling good, then it's not the right person. And there's no real assessment of themselves in the relationship to see why it's not working. They might look at the guy, it's like, he's not doing what I say, he's not doing his job. There, I can see why I'm not happy. But they won't look at them as a part of it, where they won't listen if he's actually voicing his opinions and concerns, saying, well, it's not working because of this and that I see as well. But she will hear like Charlie Brown, like what, and she won't hear anything. And she'll say, well, I don't care what your problems are. You're not addressing my issues first. It's almost like in a woman's world, it's like, not fix my issues, because a lot of times women don't want you to fix their issues, although they do. But because sometimes if you don't fix what's wrong, or more accurately, if you don't just do what they say, what they want, they're not listening to anything else. So if they're wanting something done and you're saying, well, I can do that, but part of the fixing that equation is you need to be responsible and do this as well, then our issue will be fixed. A woman will be like, no, first I want you to do your part. And she usually doesn't do anything. A guy doesn't really, let's be frank, a guy really doesn't ask for her to fix much as well. In today's world, that's why I've suggested a few times, have some needs. Guys can pretty much do everything. We're pretty self-sufficient. We don't really ask for anything from the women we're with, aside from, bedroom fun. But even guys today, if she can't cook, we don't really care. As long as you can have an okay time eating with her. If she can't cook, you can order in. But it kind of just shows, to me, guys appreciate a meal because you can actually see she's doing something personal for you that you enjoy, that you love. And food's a very primitive, low-level Maslow's needs. You need to eat. And if she can show affection with the low-level Maslow's stuff, like food, shelter, she can take care of a home, she can treat you well, she can help make your home comfortable, she can cook meals for you. That's a very primitive, basic thing that all human beings need, food and shelter and all that kind of stuff, safety. and then you do the work, the external, the keeping her safe. You keep a lot of those basic needs. But if she doesn't actually do any of the basic needs as a cooperative gesture between a man and a woman, if she does nothing, she just wants it all as a one-way street to her. A man kind of feels like, I can do all this on my own. And the moment I'm not really feeling any kind of physical affection from her, especially women who don't even want that. They stop the sex. They don't cook. They don't want to do anything, but they know they've locked him in with a marriage. Then it's like, why are they here? Like the moment I asked her, even politely, hey, sweetheart, can you blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm not your mother. Don't tell me to do this. It's basically, I will not do anything for you unless I feel like it. But if everything's expected of you, that's, I guess what I'm saying, like, and guys misread me. I'm not trying to get you to think negatively of women. I'm trying to get you to think positively of yourself. So you have nothing to do with negative women. It's not about pointing out how bad a lot of women are today. It's kind of like pointing to the sky and saying it's blue. Fine, but like, do you know what I mean? It's about you guys. So your solution isn't in blaming women. Like, the first step is like realizing all that, fine, but going anywhere positive in life, it's all about you. What you do and don't accept anymore. Pallet Warrior says, have you noticed the shift in the manosphere at the moment? The focus is now money, status, and game as opposed to introspection and helpful philosophy. Men are attacking men. Yeah, that's again why I distance myself from any groups. I talk as an individual, and I'm happy to talk to other individuals philosophically, but I'm not going to talk about politics. Or if I do, I'll kind of talk about it in a very boring sense. People won't care about my opinions because it's kind of like, I don't really care. So individually, for instance, there are a couple of really popular channels in the manosphere that I enjoy their personalities, but their content is like, some people have suggested I have a discussion with this person or that person. It's like, I think they're cool guys, but what they talk about, I don't know what I talk about with them. And our audiences, I don't think they'd get much from it. Because they might, like you said, most of the manosphere is just game. That's all it is. PUA has become the manosphere now. There's nothing left. Like I said, when I started making videos, it was philosophical, biological, data-driven. It was like we were all writing opinion pieces, like essays, fine-tuning them, recording them online, and then sharing our theories around those topics and cross-pollinating our ideas and having discussions. Now it's just gotcha videos. It's schoolyard. It's like, look what they're doing. Look how dumb women are. Look how dumb men are. Look how dumb politics is. Look at what the government's doing. But nowhere is, what's my response? What do I think of this? What's my moral stance? What are my boundaries? What is going to be my philosophical stance on this going forward for my own happiness? There's none of that. There's very little philosophical conversation. It's all political and personal infighting. For me, it's kind of like it's pretty schoolyard. Remember, if you want to ask questions, a whole bunch of emojis, put them in front of your question. Thanks, Wolf and Beat It Close, for the donation. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for the like and share, Roy. Any of the rest of you, if you want to help out the channel, like and share my videos, click the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. YouTube regularly unsubscribes people if they're inactive, because it looks like they might be fake accounts or dead accounts or something. So make sure you're continually checking that you're subscribed and hit the bell icon and select all. Doesn't cost you anything. But thank you to all you guys who are donating, like Wolf in Beta Clothes. I appreciate it, man. You're the best. Anel says, yeah, he's noticed that there are less humans, Spetsnaz and Stardust, and more PUA. Well, take a look at what everyone's interested in. The channels are popular. That's what men are watching. There are some women watching, but overwhelmingly the audience is men. So that tells you what the intellect and the addiction of men has become. They don't... I just say men are excited. They're much more excited schoolboys that want to stay there. They just want to sleep with women. They don't want to understand themselves. They don't want to come to terms with the dynamic. They don't want to be philosophically interested. It's just about, I'm an alpha, make money, women aren't nothing but crap. They like to see, if you see all women, if you watch the channels where they show all women as just being bimbos, and you expect them to be like that, and when you go out, that's all you're attracted to, that's all you're going to get, and you're going to get those headaches, and you're going to be, you're going to get to my age, and you're going to have 3 to 5 different kids from different women, paying child support, and complaining even more about women. So unless you know your boundaries and you know, I mean, none of us are perfect, but the more you can actually be proud of yourself and say, no, I said no to this hot chick because I know what it means, the better your life will be. So you can take the hormonal easy way out, like a lot of the guys who are subscribed to a lot of these popular channels, and it's all about how excited you feel about women and how your hormones are taking over and you just want to sleep with women and how to pick them up and how to put notches on your bedpost. If you think that's the solution, good luck to you. You're letting nature control you all the way and you're not thinking about any of your decisions. Nothing wrong with going after attractive women, but if you're not thinking about making sure that she has a compatible personality to you, who happens to be hot, that's the better way to go about it. Not, she's hot and cross my eyes, shut my mouth, and I just want to have a quick good time with her. You just want to spin plates. That is so risky, guys. Each woman you spin plates with, being non-committal, will increase your chances of being screwed over by her, the law, and all these things that guys complain about. They complain about them, yet they live their lives so that it happens. So what? You can go back to these channels and prove that, yeah, you're right. But the moment you ask some of these guys, okay, describe your girlfriend, let's see a photo of her. When you, on the first date, what did she say? What did you say? And like most of the time, the guy said, yeah, I should have known. Or she said this and that. And I said, really? You didn't think that maybe she was a gold digger when she said that? Yeah, but I thought, no, you didn't think. You felt. You just wanted to sleep with her. This stuff with the modern women is just going to get worse unless men change their standards and say no to crazy and say no to girl power. Say no to girl power women. And don't... See, a lot of guys want to trust the lies women tell them. You got a bimbo who believes in everything girl power says, but through conversation you can tell she does. She's lazy, she doesn't want to do anything, she expects a lot from a guy, but she doesn't want to give anything, and she feels like women are being taken advantage of in society by men, and she has no power, and that's why she's not lazy, she just doesn't have any power. But she says, I'll cook and clean for you. I'm a traditional girl. And you ask her, well, have you for your guys so far? No, but I'll do that to the guy I'm married to. Really? No, you won't. If you don't have it in you that you see, when I get with the guy, I want to show affection by cooking and cleaning. Or if you're a guy, when I get with a girl, I want to keep her safe and do all these things that girls like a guy doing, kind of romantically and time tested. That's what girls like. If you don't do the things naturally, if you're not doing them with the boyfriend, girlfriend, and dates you're on, you're not going to magically turn into this person later. This is what I mean about trust your instincts. If you're with a lazy bimbo that promises you the world, but only after you marry her and sign everything over, it's like, yeah, I promise I will. Pinky promise. It's like, no, you won't. Your last 50 boyfriends, can I talk to them? Can I ask their opinion? Vero says, yeah, they don't want you to fix anything. They want you to listen. They actually don't want you to listen. They just want you to hear them. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Women don't want you to listen. They just want you to hear them. Jim says, be yourself. It's all you can do. Chris Cornell. Yeah, great singer. Rebound sounds as human. How do you personally create a hierarchy of values according to what values? Okay, like I said, with your family and friends that you enjoy spending time with, what is the fair and reciprocal nature you have with your family and friends? What kind of people, what character traits in them do you notice casually in conversation that you notice, well, you know what, that's very different to when I'm with a girl, fairness-wise. And also life value-wise. You get along with things, the way you talk to each other, the way you're respectful. Family and friends like, no, I'll get that. Let me make you, do you want a coffee? Do you want something to eat? I'll pay this time. Like the kind of give and take, that fairness, they listen to you. They want to listen to what you have to say. When you're going through a hard time, they listen and they sympathize. Just notice the stark difference between that and a woman. And notice, can you live with it? And voice it too to the woman. And if she doesn't care, that's all the proof you need. And a lot of guys don't want to voice their opinion because they're afraid of what it means. It means if you're honest and you tell her, hey, that's not fair. You're not listening to me. You've changed. Whatever it is, voice it. Voice that instinct. Voice that clarity. Voice what you know. Most guys don't want to because they don't want it to go. They want to say, I don't want to say it. Maybe I can fix it in another roundabout way. You can't fix it directly. From the very start, be direct, civil, polite, but don't keep it in. If it's an important feeling and instinct, especially about yourselves, let it out, let her know. Who cares if she leaves? If it's just like your friends, when you're not afraid to tell your friends anything you feel, because the friends who know you, they're not going to leave because you have a different opinion to them. They know you. You don't have to agree with everything they say. Your best friend, the partner you're supposed to be with most of the time, it should be very, very similar. I know it's slightly different, but the underlying bond and trust between two people should be identical insofar as listening and respect and knowing the person and knowing that, like, I don't need my partner to be a mirror and just say yes to everything I want. I need to understand them too, and they need to understand me. It's not a one-sided relationship. But basically, creating your own personal hierarchy of values with people is look at your family and friends, see what works there, and just see the disparity between you and dates and women you go out with. There's your disparity. Ruskin says, why should anybody keep anybody happy? How can you be happy with another person's action? I don't understand sorry, man, I can't understand what you said. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Nico says, my married cousin always has to ask permission to do things. Is that normal when being married? No, not permission. Look, when you're with someone else, you discuss things, especially if it's got to do with the both of you. if you just want to do something that's got nothing to do with the other person, that's kind of normal, then, like, I'll give you an example. Like if you're going somewhere, so the person doesn't have to worry. Like if you just leave, and you were in the house one moment, now you're gone. It's polite to kind of like, you're together. It's like you're saying, look, I'm just going to the shops. That's sensible, but it's not asking for permission. You're just telling someone where you're going. You're being together with them. You're on the same page with them. You're expressing your point of view, so on and so forth. What I don't agree with was, an example I give with my ex was that we weren't doing anything on that particular weekend. And one of my family members said, "Hey, human, what are you doing on the weekend?" I said, "Oh, nothing much." "Oh, can you come and help me with such and such? I need you just to help me lift a few things on Saturday." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And then afterwards, when I was driving home, my ex was saying, "I can't believe you didn't ask me as well. Maybe I wanted to do something else." And I said, "We weren't doing anything else." She said, "Oh, maybe I wanted to." Well, we didn't. And if this person needs my help, that supersedes us just hanging out and doing nothing like we usually do. You need to understand that close people in our life, if they need our help, unless we're going to a wedding or something that's planned or supersedes the importance of what they're doing, like we really got something on, I can't get out of it, or I can't, even if I've got something important on, if my friend really needs me, I'll try and adjust the thing I was doing if it's not that important. So if my ex and I were just, I don't know, we were going to have breakfast that morning, I'd say, "Can we adjust it to the afternoon or whatever, babe? Because my friend needs me." That supersedes our importance. But when there's nothing on, it's like asking for permission. Like, you didn't ask my permission if you could help your friend. It's like, get the F out. I'm not asking your permission if I can help my friend. This is kind of the sensible nature. Are you a pet on a leash, or do you actually have a adult relationship with someone else? Who Cares says, "What's your idea of removing this game ideology from the younger generations? How should we go about it, and the pros and cons?" It's very hard, because when you're young, that's all you care about. You just care about sleeping with women. That's it. And if the elders, instead of mentoring you philosophically and stoically like we used to in the past, like the elders tried to calm down the hormones of the young and say, "I know you want women, but calm down." They'd splash cold water on the face of young men and really shake them into sense and say, "No, think about this. A man cannot do this because of A, B, and C." And all of us elders are trying to make you into mature men. When now you've got elders like the popular channels saying, "Yeah, women are nothing about this. Make money, get jacked, and you'll get all these bimbos, and then you'll be the real man." It's like, you've got actual teenagers looking like older guys telling guys to make more mistakes. They're actually not being mentored. It's children furthering the younger generation's addictions. It's not mentoring. It's just kind of low-level game. I don't know what you can do, because hormonally, young guys, that's all they want. And it used to be up to older guys to sort of calm down that, put them in a space of guys talking and saying, "Let's calm down. Let's talk intelligently about this. What tools can we give each other? What rules can we give each other that we respect each other as men, that's been passed on, that works?" Men and women haven't changed. The environment's changed, but elders have stopped teaching men philosophically. And it's just all that's happened is the schoolyard tactics of guys and girls just wanting to be with each other, it's stayed. And then guys have just gotten older, and now they have jobs and they can buy bigger toys and expensive cars. And they still talk the same way as they did in high school. I don't see very many mature conversations. Guys will listen to these guys who have a lot of money because they feel like, well, look at this guy. He looks like he knows more about life than this, I don't know, this guy who's talking philosophy sitting on a log. Because he's got money and all these women have got their tongues hanging out. They want him. He looks like he has power. And they confuse the superficial, commercial, capitalistic power the guy has that women love as, oh, he's got it figured out. He doesn't. The moment he settles on one woman, which a lot of the guys, that's what they do. They don't settle on one woman. They think that spinning 12 plates is the safe option. Don't fall in love. Don't settle on one woman. But then you're increasing your chances because you're just picking random women. The more random women you have, statistically, you up your chances of one or more of them being crazy, and you have the police knocking on your door one day. Or you have some person from the courts serving you papers for something. Yeah. Black Magic 1087 says, Human, in my past relationships when things got bad, I never thought to hit the eject button. Instead, it was replaced with the phrase, at least I'm getting sex or a warm meal. Yeah, but men can cognitively say, well, at least I'm getting this. At least it's not as bad as, I don't know, that guy. Do you guys, like, a lot of guys know what their standards should be. They know what right and wrong is, but then excusing yourself so you're not being courageous for yourself by saying, well, it's not as bad as that guy, or it could be worse. She could be crazier. What was the saying by Alan Moore? He said, when you're standing in crap, you don't jump up and down on the crap to prove that the crap is wrong. You scrape it off your boots and you walk away. So you don't say that guy's standing in deeper crap than me, so I should be lucky. No, you're not grateful for that. You're not grateful for standing in crap. Crap is crap. I mean, objectively. I think a lot of guys are worried because it's harder for guys to find women. For women in general, it's easy for them to find a guy. So guys feel like, took a lot of work and I invested a lot. Let me squeeze every drop out of trying that I possibly can. But to the degree that it's ridiculous, that after you break up, most guys are like, I should have left like 3 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, I saw this from the start. Guys, even if you don't find anyone else, you'll have a better life than the pain you are living with. It's just as simple as that. You don't get sex. You can get it anywhere. It's not rare. Animals do it. Every animal on the planet. It's not like winning the lottery. It's just because it's so hard for men to find a woman or get sex naturally. Because women make it so hard. Women don't have a reasonable version of themselves. Women who are a 3 think that they're a 8. But you've got so many guys who are 7s, objectively, that think they're 4s. Or I want to be humble. Guys, there's a lot more guys that find pride in being humble. Other guys respect it. Women find it safer. So they just understand yourself. Understand men and women, but understand yourself in relation to it. Yeah, Tristan says, introspection is the way. I am so tired of the PUA, the politics. Glad to have found your channel. Thanks for finding it, Tristan. Glad you enjoy it. I find these topics one of the most interesting, if not the most interesting to talk about, because it's the reason why we're here. Unless we're self-interested in a rational, philosophical, stoic, time-tested way that men used to mentor each other and pass on this, the mid-20th century, when we had a lot of great literature, and now it's all gone. It's been replaced by flicking through memes. Like, that's the stuff that helps men. Thinking your way maturely, stoically, philosophically through your life. Knowing where you stand. Not being led by advertising and women's feelings. That's not the validation you should seek. It's more sort of like your internal one. But it's hard to escape today. How can you chew on something in here where you're always chewing on it through here? Like, this has become your mind, not this. This is almost like a reflection of your brain these days for most guys. I can understand the frustration, but... Ruskin says, individualism is the right way forward, human given opinion. This is a tricky one, because a lot of people think individualism means just I'm completely selfish, and it becomes very black, P-I-L-L. It's kind of like, I don't care about anything, there's no point, I don't care about people, I'm not going to put any effort in, I'm just going to sit on the couch, eat Cheetos, and complain about life. The main thing is, if you can honestly go to bed happy, sleep well, and you've got a glass half full attitude, it doesn't matter to me if you do or don't want to be with women, if you just want to be a hermit. If you're really, truly happy and not having to repeat it in the mirror like Tony Robbins and tell people like, I'm happy, I don't need women, I don't need women. It's like, you're saying it a bit too forcefully, man. I don't think you believe it unless you keep repeating it so vocally. If you can be happy with your life no matter what you're doing, and you're treating people fairly, you treat people the way you would like to be treated, you'll find naturally your tribe of people, and you'll be happy with the people in your life. Hey, Mr. Highway, how you going? Yeah, he says something very important. Mr. Highway says, men claim they understand women, but they don't even understand men. You can actually see with a lot of the infighting between these popular channels lately. They're at each other again. Why? They're arguing over women. They're not arguing, they're not debating philosophical points. They're arguing over who's the better alpha, who's got the better alpha philosophy. They don't have a more stoic live and let live position where it's like, I don't agree with this person's position, I may think it's completely stupid, but it doesn't affect me. Okay, you believe that, I believe this, doesn't bother me. But why do you get angry? And a lot of them will say, well, you're teaching men the wrong thing. That's not why you're angry. You want to be the king of the hill. You want to be the alpha with the alpha opinion that everyone submits to. Feral Male says, to be fair, the mainstream narrative is that women are mysterious, ineffable creatures, so most men don't even bother trying to understand what's going on. Yeah, this smoke screen that women have been using for a while is like, women are mysterious, women's prerogative to change her mind, she's always moving, she's this, and men like figuring stuff out. And today women use it more and more. This smoke screen of like the feminine mystique, this mysterious woman. It's like, women don't even understand themselves, but men are trying to understand women the way we would understand men. Men sort of have more of an adherence to reality. So if a man kind of publicly says like, I believe in X, Y, and Z, you can kind of believe that he does. And if you say, well, you said you believed in that yesterday, that same guy isn't going to say like a woman, well, I've changed my mind. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say that. I feel this way now. How dare you make me feel like a guy will say, yeah, I did. I know. But, I can see your point of view. There's more a basis to reality. So I think women like to get away with their mystery. It's not a mystery. Even women don't get other women. I've mentioned once before where when women get annoyed at men not reading their signs and their signals, they did studies where both men and women watched videos of women giving off subtle hints, body language, that they were interested in a guy. And both men and 10 women, or I can't remember, like 100 men and 100 women watched the same videos. On average, 9 out of 10, or actually it was, I think nearly every man got it wrong, or something like 9 out of 10 men got almost all of it wrong. They couldn't tell if the women were flirting or if they were interested or not. And the women, it was slightly better. It was like 8 out of 10. So even women can't understand other women's body language. They can't. The women don't understand themselves. So whenever a woman says like, oh, well, when you say what's wrong, well, if you don't know, I can't explain it to you, as though we're stupid. It's like, no, you're hiding behind evasive words because you don't understand yourself. Yeah, we know, like, women aren't as introspective as men because we have to be. There's no one we can rely on. If we aren't philosophically introspective, if we're not going to grab reality and try and live our lives in accordance with reality, you can't kind of go to a woman and say, well, it's your fault, fix it. If you don't get it, then I can't explain it to you. It's like, they'll laugh at you. They don't care. You have to get it as a man. But women don't. They can lean on government and other men. Again, up to you to pick the right woman, friends, job, environment. Don't keep associating and living with and around and marrying people where it's these musical chairs of evasion and, well, not my fault. I don't know what you're talking about. You figure it out. Well, if you can't make me happy, how many times have you heard that? A woman saying, well, you've got one job is to make me happy and you can't even do that. Like, how? You should know. Every man should know. You're so stupid. Like, it just shows how less of a man you are because you can't figure out how to simply make a woman happy. How hard is it? Tell me. I can't. Or because if they tell you how to make them happy, they've put it out there. They've said it. And then you can always point to, well, you told me to be happy, I should do this. Women don't want to tell you how to make them happy because they have to stick to that. Because they want to be able to change their mind. They don't want to be responsible. Again, for you overly sensitive females, I'm not saying every woman. When I say women, I mean most women in the middle of the bell curve. If you plucked out 1,000 women from society, 95% of them would be women that I'm talking about. Ted1775, human, what kind of sports car do you have? I've got an i30N hatchback. Mr. Highway, I'm more fed up with women. He says, I'm more fed up with men at this point, Mr. Highway. Myself too. I was talking to Boffin, which I'm sure you've probably seen him in the comment section. He's an older guy. And he and I have been having similar discussions. We might do a chat. Mr. Highway, if you can, jump on my Discord, and I think you, I, and Boffin might have similar points of view. It'd be good to have a chat if you can. So yeah, which is why I've also distanced myself from what most of the Manosphere is, because I can't even talk to the guys there anymore. I can't talk like this. I can't talk philosophically. I can't talk, you have your opinion, I have mine. No, it's like all of a sudden a fight ensues because I don't believe in your sacred cows. It's dumb. I can't talk about the ideas because these guys think they think in terms of talking about a football team. I believe in this football team, so I'm against anyone else who believes in another one. It's like, I don't believe in the football team. I believe in the sport. You're talking about the Jets, and I'm talking about football. That's the difference. Yeah, I'm disappointed more in men. This is the funny thing. When you kind of say to guys like, say, as someone who produces content online, which is kind of targeted towards men or from a man's point of view, guys will get very offended. They'll say, humans are against men and he's not one of us anymore. But if a woman is like really against, I'm not against men, but when a woman's against men, they won't be as angry with her. They'll be like, you know, just women, you got to take her. So you'll understand her because you want to get in her pants, but because you don't want to get in my pants, you want to crucify guys like me who aren't part of your group. This is the kind of introspection. It's very easy to say no to a guy like me who doesn't believe in what you stand for. You have an opposing point of view, and it's quite easy for you to assert your boundaries to human and go like, nah, human's this and that. I don't like him. Let me give him a piece of my mind. I'll get on his live stream and I'll tell him what a SOB is. But when a woman comes on, she's on a date or she says something and she's pretty and she says stuff that's completely insulting to you as a guy or to men, it's like, women, hey babe, and all of a sudden you don't care about her philosophy or the idea. Like, you'll excuse everything. You'll excuse the most wretched person that, like, I try not to insult anyone personally. She'll insult you and you'll still smile and take it because you want to be with her. So I think a lot of guys, their blind spot, and this is the betrayal with a lot of the guys on a lot of these bigger channels that watch this stuff. They pretend to be for men, but they're not, because they throw men under the bus at the first instance. They assert their boundaries with other men. They don't assert their boundaries at all with women. This is what pees me off. It's like, you're a tough guy with other men. You're not a tough guy with women. It's like GTFO. It's just really annoying. It's kind of like I'm the voice of what older guys used to teach younger guys, like grab them by the back of the neck, take them away from the women in the tribe, go out into the forest with other men around a campfire, and you stay there until that's severed, that umbilical cord from women is severed. It's like, have you woken up yet? This is what the Matrix was. Take this pill or that pill. And a lot of guys are saying, yeah, when Morpheus put his hand out, I took the red one. No, you didn't. You took the blue one, and you're telling everyone you took the red one. It gets my goat. So guys are talking like women. They're lying. You just need to look at how they act. Like I said, they'll fight with other men easily. Assert their boundaries with other men. With other women, nothing. But you say you're an alpha. Jesus. Anyway, calm down, human. Yeah. Jerome said, it's okay, human, relax, brother. There's not going to be a future soon. Anel, what are your thoughts on women who are in the red PILL spaces, like Karen Strawn? Karen Strawn's been there from the early days, so I have respect for her. She was there when it was all about philosophy. She wasn't flirting with guys. She was just talking about the ideas. So she's a good one. She has my full respect. I haven't seen her content recently, so I don't know. But back in the golden age of MGTOW, she was an ally. And as far as I can tell, she still is in my eyes. Sarah Lena, never heard of her. I notice a lot of women are coming into this space and starting to reject feminism. Yeah, I've noticed a lot, especially this year and last year. Surprise, surprise, what's been going on in the world? That there's a lot of women sort of, feminism has lied to us. Now it has? Really? What's the cold water that's been splashed on your face to finally make you realize? Because the party's over? Is that why? Now, you want to say, it's not our fault. Like, they lied to us. Whenever I hear women sort of say, I'm not to blame, girl power lied to me. It's like, no, girl power dangled this carrot in front of you and you took it with a smile on your face and you spat on men. And now that girl power didn't pay off, it's like, it didn't pay off. Not my fault, guys taking me back. Like, it's not my fault, it's her fault. It's like blaming McDonald's for getting you fat. It dangled an advertisement, said, eat the cheeseburger. It's not McDonald's fault that you ate it. I like to give women the example when they say that, oh, it's not my fault, it's girl power that lied to me. It's like, well, okay, let me paint this scenario. If I was a guy and I was married, and my young secretary lied to me and she said she was going to make me happy, and I went with her and I divorced you, I got rid of you, and then later on I come knocking at your door and say, you know what, take me back. My secretary lied to me, it's not my fault. It's like, no, you quite rightly say, you made a choice to go with her, to not value what you had, to not stand on principle. It's not her fault. She's just something attractive. She's like, if you're dieting, a box of donuts. It's not the donuts' fault, it's yours. Donuts didn't lie to you. Secretary didn't lie to you. Girl power didn't lie to you. You wanted it because you're greedy and lazy, and you wanted, you just didn't want to make a stand. You wanted to stay at the party. Like all these women who want to stay flicking on Tinder. You say to yourself, I'm looking for the right guy, but I'm just having fun until I do. I'm going to ride the carousel in my 20s and early 30s, and then later on when the party's over, it's like society puts all this pressure on women. It does. I can forgive you early on, but at what point do you attain some sort of responsibility and say, like, you know what, I was wrong, I wasted my time, but now I'm doing everything I can. And whenever anyone, society, men or other women, like, you voice it, you say, I was wrong, I want to talk about what is right. I want to teach other women what's right. I made mistakes. Girls don't make the same mistake I did. Where do you hear women saying that? They don't. They keep pointing to the system. Girl power, it's not its fault any more than it's McDonald's fault that you got fat. If you want to be honest about it and say, yeah, I got sucked in, it was my own fault, but it lured me, so you can attribute some responsibility to the immoral, unethical behavior of advertising or girl power, but you need to own that it was my choice, that I spat on men, got rid of, I don't like my father, brothers. In my 20s, I gave up a good guy because I thought I could do better. I could have the girl power dream. Acknowledge the reality of it. You'll have a better chance of having a second chance if you're a woman that acknowledges that. Not this girl power lie to us. And yeah, I've noticed a lot of women supporting men in the last year and a half. But it's because of survival. The party's over, the world's in survival mode, and now women realize, I can't do it on my own. Who Cares says, would you compromise your happiness for a successful relationship? No. My happiness is part of a successful relationship. Define a successful relationship. Compatibility. I think she's hot. That's not the predominant thing I judge a person. It's compatibility. If people focused on compatibility, real compatibility between people, their relationships would be more successful. It's not a guarantee, but it's the best guarantee you're going to get. This is why I think the personal philosophical way is the only way for men's lives to be happier, because it's about your values, in, out. You judge what's in front of you. What do you think about this situation? Do you want to say yes? Do you want to say no? Do you have boundaries? Boundaries are a hard no. Do you voice them when it's a hard no? Do you know what your values are? But most people don't care about that. They care about women. But you're not dating women, you're just dating the woman in front of you. When you argue about the government, it's like, where do you live your life? Yes, you've got to be informed about it, but don't live your life out there over the horizon. Rod says, I find it's a mistake for men to be more patient and accommodating with a lady who has a psychological disorder such as bipolar, chronic depression, etc. Yeah. Like I said, in terms of don't raise your standard above the person you're dealing with, is you can initially give the first step of being kind and offering and being understanding. But as soon as you realize I'm not compatible, they're unfair, they're selfish, they don't care about me, etc., etc. Like, this is why being aware of yourself in relation to the world and other people that you're dealing with is so important. It's not so you can live in a silo of solipsism that, you know, no one else matters. I'm just going to take from people and treat them badly. It's just about me. I want to have, when you're going to deal with other people and place yourself in environments, in jobs that either suit you or don't, you need to be aware of who you are and what is compatible with you, especially people, and for most guys, especially women, if you want to have relationships with them. That's why it's about you. Then it's easy to be in environments or with people that suit you. But if you don't introspect, if you don't know your values, if you don't know what your yeses and your nos are, then you're just going to agree to other people's yeses, so you're not alone. That's the only feeling you're going to have. I like being with this person, don't know why. Usually it's biologically driven, you have no objective reason. And then when you grate against that person's expectations and yours, you'll just want to stay there. But if they're a more dominant personality, they're going to keep pushing you and using you. Like so many agreeable guys do get pushed and used with women who expect a lot in relationships. You're just accommodating their dominance. Boffin, how are you, man? Hang on, let me go up. Tokyo Traveller, thank you very much for the super chat donation. I appreciate it. Albatross, thank you very much for yours. I appreciate it too, man. Wet Palette Warrior says, self-actualization and internal validation has fallen out of the lexicon in this community. Yeah, I agree. Would agree that external validation is now primary in the young men of the Manosphere. Yes, it's all about the external. Understand women, get cars, make money. Like, I am all about an external structure that I place myself into, and that if I can figure it out, then I'll be happy in it. It's no longer with guys a philosophical, stoic discussion about generating your life. It's about you are just a empty, inert guy that's kind of nothing unless you can figure out how to insert yourself into an external great life where everyone else is having fun out there. How can I get let into the club of fun? Rather than, no, I'm the party, as John the Other once said. You know, think of it, you are the party, and you can never be kicked out of your own party, rather than, how do I get into that party? So the most popular channels, it's all about how to get into the party of happiness in your life. It's always an external party you have to get to. Jerome says, you seem very agitated today, human. Are you okay? Now, this is me. I'm like Bill Burr. When I get passionate, I get very vocal. People that know me that I'm like this. It's kind of like, this is where my will comes from. A lot of people go, oh, it's easy for you, human. Like, you've got a lot of drive. It's like, I care a lot about this stuff. It's important to me. Unless it's a little bit important like this, unless it fires you up to stand up for what's right, when you're with a woman, you won't know what to say. When you're with someone who abuses you, when you're in a bad job that's asking you to give 150% while they barely give you 90%, you won't stand up for yourself. It feels good to stand up for yourself righteously. When you know you're standing up in relation to your own philosophy that you've thought about. It's like, I feel proud of this. For my own moral philosophy, I know where I stand and how I treat my family and friends. I feel good about that. I know how I stand with myself. I defend myself with the same righteous manner as I would someone trying to attack my sister or my family or my brother or people I care about. That is great. That is objectively a good stance to be in. I am part of the people I care about. I am not a nothing and I just care about the external. Or if I'm with a woman, I just care about her. I care about myself too. The moment I don't place myself as part of it is like you become empty. You become like these guys that just care about fast cars, money, and bimbos. But I'm not agitated. I'm or maybe I am, but I'm passionately agitated. I'm not angry. I feel people tell me I need to smile more. But when it's an important topic, when someone's asked an important question, I don't want to belittle the question by making too much light of it and laughing at it. Older women no longer teach young women to be virtuous. No, they don't. Milchi7 says, Human, what is your advice on dealing with an emotional father? He earns a lot, thus extremely stubborn and not understanding. Yeah, guys, if you get a stubborn, egotistical personality who's got a lot of power, especially through money, whether it's with his woman, his family, his children, he's just going to dominate. His mode is like, I'm in charge of everything. I dominate. My way goes. This is how I've built my world. I don't delegate. He's like a manager that doesn't delegate. They micromanage everything and they feel good about controlling everything. I don't know what you can do, man. What is your advice on dealing with an emotional father? Emotional, not kind of just structurally dominant. I don't know. Like anyone else, if they won't listen to reason, distance yourself as much as possible. So I don't know, like if you're living at home with them still, that's hard until you can actually move out on your own. But try and be as rational. If you sort of say, Dad, I'm listening to you, but you won't listen to anything I say, then just don't say anything. Let him talk and just let him know you're ghosting him as much as possible in a way that he doesn't fly off the handle. Let him know that, hey, I'm treating you now the way you're treating me. You don't want to listen to me, I'm not listening to you either. So when he's talking to you, barely talk back. Don't fight him with words if he's not listening to your words. Because a lot of these people who like arguing, they like you arguing back on their terms. Take their tools away from them so they can realize that there's no point arguing with you. They leave you alone, or they might be able to self-reflect. I don't know. But I don't know what advice I can give you there. I've never experienced it myself. Cyrus says, Human, do you really think challenging and overthink in relationships is a bad idea? When my ex dumped me, she used to say, you studying philosophy and you should understand me. How about my feelings? Nah, that's an excuse. If you're calling her out about being selfish, she can't just say you need to take all the responsibility of this relationship because you're smarter or you know this subject. If anything, she should defer to your knowledge if you know about philosophy more than her. If she's not being rational. Yeah, a lot of women are very good at using words to sort of survive because they've been fine-tuned over generations. That's the main reason women can survive. They're stronger and they're weaker and slower than men, but intellectually they're quicker at using word salad to duck and weave and survive. A man has to work at doing it. Like, I was never naturally as good with words as I am today. I had to learn to develop this to combat whenever a woman would reboot your hard drive with those kind of sayings where if you love me, you'd blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like, whoa, okay, let me think about that. How do I respond to that? And usually she wouldn't give you any time and say you'd submit. So with women, it's easy to use word salad and lie and say anything to get out of a situation. With men, the words need to make sense to get out of a situation because a man finds it harder to be irrational and be okay with his irrational thoughts expressed. Just the guy says, being an individual has nothing to do with being selfish. People with a strong sense of individuality are usually not very gregarious, though. I'd agree. I'm not gregarious at all. I've learnt to be social, but I'm an introvert more by nature. For me, I've learnt to be social as a survival mechanism, so I can't be taken advantage of, or so I can defend myself and have a happier life amongst people. Albatross, thank you for the super chat. He says, there is no feminine mystique. They just say whatever it takes to win. Exactly. Like I said, word salad, so they survive. That's a woman's skill. She's really good at that. If a guy isn't self-interested, a woman will smoke him every time because she's got a natural ability to word salad him through feminine mystique. Tokyo Traveler, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, to understand women, put for now at the end of everything they say, especially if it contains strong emotions like I love you for now. I will marry you for now. I'll be faithful to you for now. Yeah, women believe what they say in the moment. When they promise for the future, a lot of women, like, they actually believe, they're not lying, but then later on they don't feel the same way. And so they don't want to be in that space with a different feeling in their head. So it's like, I know I promised, but I can't live this way. I'm in too much emotional pain. I need to get out of it. So I'm going to say, I didn't promise. I've just changed my mind. Women don't want to feel bad. And standing up to promises, staying with promises that they regret, and women don't like to regret, don't like to feel guilt, they will word salad themselves out of it. Silver Bullet says, Aboriginal peoples, are they still taking young men out and teaching traditions? I think so. Grin Reaper says, humans are very tribal. You can't change this nature. Yeah, I know that's a big component of where a lot of the problems are coming from. Davina says, Karen's good, and yes, Diana Davidson is fighting the fight. Yeah, Diana Davidson as well. She was one that was pretty good. She sort of she talks from memory. She talks a lot about sort of legal stuff. Gives examples of and cites a lot of legal precedents and really good in-depth cases. She goes through a lot of the the lawyer stuff, and yeah. Okay. Just Takina says, I kind of knew that women would be more comfortable viewing human than any other Manosphere people. Crummy VCR says, human guys turn off their cognitive and switch to the reptilian brainstem, and that's good enough for her. She doesn't want a person, she wants a bodyguard, and the caveman abides to it. Yeah, it's true. A pretty woman's in front of you on a date, and your reptilian brain comes to the front. Boffin says, any thoughts on what will become of the unemployed OnlyFans THOTS? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I was actually talking to a friend last night about that. It's like, imagine you're someone where that's the only thing on your resume. More importantly, it's kind of like if you spent the last year or so becoming a millionaire, you're a rock star, and it's effectively like your record deal got cancelled. What do you do now? you can't be a musician anymore. Like, you can't do what you did on OnlyFans anymore. You can't do anything. You got no skills. Okay, the only thing you can do now, I think a lot of them will go into similar industries. They'll become cam girls. They'll become legitimate strippers. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying that the allure of the money they made, they're going to think like, well, I'm going to do. The only thing that makes sense is to do something comparably similar. What are you going to get with that resume? It actually makes your job prospects worse, and to do anything else is going to be a smaller paycheck. To try and marry rich will be a detriment when they find out you're on OnlyFans. So, not looking good. But women, like, even when women started doing this and sticking their middle finger up at the world and saying, "I can do anything, don't judge me," it's like, you're going to be judged later whether you like it or not, because a guy, if he has a choice, if he sees you on OnlyFans, he's going to say like, "No, thank you. That's not fair. Don't care. I don't want a wife like you. I don't want my kids to be from you," because it plays into how you perceive someone's moral code. In the same way, if a woman finds out a guy was in prison for a heinous crime, yeah, she can say, "Well, I don't care," but a reasonable person, it will play into, look, I trust that you've changed, but I'm not going to go in all in and trust you on that. So, and a lot of times, people who were in prison or women who were on camera showing skin, they were in that part of life. When you get to know them, the parts of their personality that thought it was a good idea will start to bleed into you getting to know them, and you'll think like, "Oh, I don't get along with this person." Because a lot of their moral fabric that wanted the greed and the money and thought it was perfectly fine to do all these lewd things on camera with other people or on their own, and sticking all manner of objects inside them and letting the world see them, that plays into how depersonalized they would be in a relationship. And I'd be willing to bet a lot that, see, a lot of guys and girls like to think romantically, like, in spite of being on OnlyFans, she's a really nice, clean-cut, morally sound woman. It's like you're wanting to believe in the opposite. It's a woman's fantasy of, he might be a bad guy, but he's got a heart of gold underneath. It's like, you want to believe that. You want the romantic novel to express itself in your life. It's not going to happen. It's more realistic. If he came from jail, he's probably not a great guy. He's not going to treat you well. You're not going to have much in common with him. If a woman is out there acting like a slapper on camera, most likely she doesn't have the moral fiber of becoming a good mother, treating me well, being traditional if you want to get married and have kids. Like, common sense. Stop looking at the romantic contradiction as though that's going to happen. But yeah, I don't hold much hope for a lot of these women, because cognitively now they're attached to becoming millionaires through doing that. They thought they could do that for the rest of their lives, be millionaire OnlyFans chicks, traveling the world, buying mansions, supercars, having the pick of any man they want. And now the world is in this state, the way it's in, can't go anywhere, can't travel, and they've locked away their income. What are you going to do now, ladies? Men don't care. You can say I'm heartless, but men have, I don't have any more sympathy in my tank for these petulant children that when times were good, they were spitting on people and acting like brats. And now when times aren't good and survival's at stake, it's like, "Oh, we didn't mean it. Don't you have a heart?" It's like, no, you didn't. There are consequences to actions. You can't just say, "I don't need anyone," when life is really easy and there's a lot of excess out there. Now there's no excess. Now you're not going to take stock and self-reflect. You're going to say, "Oh, it's still not my fault. It's the system's fault. It's girl power's fault. It's the allure of all this money. It wasn't my fault. Again, the metaphor of McDonald's. You took it. You got to know when to stop. You got to know yourself in relation to the addiction. Other people can't take on your responsibility. And a lot of guys don't want girls with those kind of morals to commit to. Yeah, you'll sleep with them, but if you want a committed relationship, if you're acting in that way, a guy's not going to want to commit to you. Davina says, Human's coffee was extra good. Feral Malta says, Human does seem somewhat hyper-caffeinated today. Maybe because there's a lot of questions to get through. And you know, it's like when you're in a conversation with someone and you really want to get something out, but the other person's talking a lot, and so you talk faster and like you feel a bit more hyper. I think because there's a lot of comments, which I should probably get back to, that I want to get through, and I don't want to make the stream too long. It's already an hour and a half, so let's get back to some of the comments. I've done that one. David S says, when she says, if you love me, you do something. He said, if you love me, you would. I shouldn't have to explain why I'm mad at you. And my favorite, you just don't get it. Yeah, those three statements. If you love me, you would do blah, blah, blah. I shouldn't have to explain why I'm mad at you, and you just don't get it. That's basically, you can replace all those phrases from a woman with, just do it, idiot. I'm your mother because I said so. David P said, if you loved me, you'd see it my way. And then he responded, I do love you, and I do see it your way, but your way isn't my way, though. I'm going this way, and you're welcome to join me. Good response. Al Wood says, for years my wife would start sentences with, I thought the husband was supposed to. There was never any counter offer of what she was willing to do as a wife. Yeah, that's interesting. It's very clear from women what guys are supposed to do. But then you ask them, like, a woman's supposed to make me a sandwich. It's like, oh, offensive. I shouldn't have to do anything. They have no philosophical reciprocity. I think that's why guys like philosophy so much, because it's balanced. If it works on one side, it works on the other side. Thus, it's balanced and makes rational sense. JJ says, if you love me, you would. Well, I love you, baby, but I love you conditionally, just the way you love me, as you just indicated. Yeah. Women said, like, they give you a condition. If you love me, you do this. But if you impose conditions on your love for them, it's like, no, you should have unconditional love for me. And then you say, hang on a minute, why is your love conditional then? He says, what you are asking for does not meet my conditions. Hardy says, whenever a woman tries something like that on me, I'd flip the switch by saying, I don't see you doing it for me. Does that mean you don't love me? Of course, she would try to gaslight further by saying I'm being shallow, ingenuine, or that we love in different ways. I'll just ignore and walk away, exactly what I did. Don't deal with women who have double standards. Exactly. Unless it's an objective one, where you're stronger than her, or faster, or smarter, or know more about a subject, or whatever, where it's got nothing to do with biology. If it's just about human fairness, don't accept the double standard. I broke up with my girlfriend of 4 years because of her entitlement. Every breakup I saw from a girl was always wrapped in self-love, or brunch to another, or monkey branch to another partner, while a man was always self-improvement. Yeah, with women it's always self-love. With a man it's always self-improvement. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Women think that they are sacrificing themselves when they give a man the chance to love them or be with them. I say leave them alone as cat ladies. Yeah, it's different. The entitlement's gone. I'm going out with you. Aren't you grateful? You should be grateful. I've had a couple of women say that. One in particular that really dumbfounded me, and I kind of laughed at her. I said, "Do you realize how entitled you sound?" Where I broke up with her legitimately because she was being really unreasonable. Like I couldn't have my way at all, and I was trying to do something nice. It couldn't be my way. It had to be her way, and I was trying to be nice and do something for us. And I said, "You know what? I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this anymore." Like, and I basically broke up with her. I go, like, we're too different, whatever. And she said to me that, because we met on a dating site, she said, "Do you know how many other guys messaged me? I picked you," as though telling me I should be grateful. I said, "Are you kidding me? That's like, are you telling me I should be entitled and I should put up with you acting like this?" So, yeah, I've had a girl in particular say that I should be grateful because do you know how many guys messaged me and I actually picked your profile to respond to and I agreed to go on a date with you? Oh, thank you, Cleopatra. How are you supposed to love someone like that? You can't love an unkind person. That's not kindness. That's not... Ah, man, the entitlement. Anyway, I am a bit sort of, a little bit more sort of passionate today, aren't I? Hyper-caffeinated. Let's get through some of the other... Tom M says, "My ex had a similar version of this game. She'd ask me to do something she knew I didn't care to do and follow it up with, 'I'd do it for you if you asked me,' to which I learned to reply, 'I'd never ask you.'" That's interesting, isn't it? How little guys ask from their women, and how, as a reflex, women are constantly asking. They're not asking, they nag. That's where the cliche of women nag comes from. They keep asking, nagging, more, do this, do that, you should do this. As a guy, you should do this. If you love me, you do this. The moment you ask, you're a needy guy. Oh, it's not attractive when a guy's needy. A guy should sort of not ask for anything. A guy should be the giving machine. Women are the taking machine. You know, just like this. You know, we give, women take. Nah, not with human interactions. The only way it's going to last is if I get my tank refueled. As in, I give, you give a bit back to me. You don't even have to give back the same amount I gave to you. I've said I'm happy to give women 70 to 80% when times are good and I'm being respected and I want to. I'm fine. But if you don't give anything back, if I have to give 100 and you're angry at me that I dare ask you to give 1%, then go enjoy your cats. Alexander says, "It's always, if you love me, you do this, but never because I love you, I will." Yeah. Again, women don't want to come out and be responsible for acting well. They want to be passive and feel good about, look how much I'm desired. It'd be nice if a woman actually expressed openly, because I care, I'm doing this for you. Especially if she's doing something where she expects nothing in return. That's Bigfoot right there. He says, "Just throw that in the same dustbin as a real man, blah, blah, blah." Yeah. Whenever a woman says, because I love, if you love me, you do this, it's the equivalent of a woman says, a real man does blah, blah, blah. She's basically shaming you into doing what she wants because she says so. And how dare you not listen to Princess? Dinar says, "I know how I'm supposed to behave to be attracted to women, but if I behave in that way, I'm not true to who I am. That's why I never was a big fan of game." Yeah, me neither. Whenever I supplicate to women in that kind of very unfair, humiliating way, the non-self-respecting way, I always have a feeling like I touched a sticky doorknob. He said, "It's too much effort to always put up this alpha persona." I agree. You never let your guard down, never relax, never show any weakness. Oh, well, I've accepted that I'm mostly likely going to be single forever, but that's okay. I still enjoy my own life. That's the point. If you can be happy But if you have to supplicate your happiness, if you have to be unhappy to put on a false exterior of togetherness for everyone else, then how happy can you really be? Nick says, they always demand guarantees, yet give none in return. It's all about them feeling secure at any cost to a man. Yeah, that's where this, if you love me, you do this. But the moment you say, okay, if you love me, you do this, all of a sudden they stand up for their boundaries like, don't tell me what to do. I'm not making you a sandwich. What am I, your mother? As I said in my previous video, I'm not your father. Look at the fairness and learn how to respond, gentlemen. That's why I keep saying self-analysis and your language and learning how to call things out, how to respond to a woman for fairness's sake. If she says, I'm not your mother, fine. I'm not your father either. If you love me, you do this and that. If you love me, you do this and that. And if she keeps counter-offering with like, no, I don't do anything. I'm not your mother. I'm not going to make you a sandwich. I'm not going to do anything for you. It's like, well, I'll treat you the way you treat me. How about that? I want to be fair. Learn how to respond, gentlemen. And it comes from knowing yourself and learning how to speak from your values. They're not one-liners that you learn to sort of put her down with. They're words you righteously respond to, defending yourself. Because the same way you defend yourself, that's the same way you defend a good woman that's with you, your children, your family, your friends. That same voice that you defend your own values and yourself with is the same voice and the same words and the same boundaries that you use to defend all the people you care about, including yourself. I want to get through some of these comments in the last video because they're really good. Mr. Awesome says, just pull the same stunt in the bedroom and see how the perception changes. Yeah, try telling her in the bedroom, oh, if you love me, you let me do this and that. It's like all of a sudden a woman stands up for her boundaries. This is the thing, you guys, stand up for what you believe in. Who cares? Do you really care about the opinion of someone who doesn't believe in your values? Oh, I'll offend her. You're offending someone who doesn't care about you. You're offending someone who doesn't believe in the same things you believe. It's like saying, I don't want to offend the rock or a bird. It's like, it's not your animal. Who cares if you offend them? As long as you're polite, you're just asserting your values. Charles S. says, the real pros don't say it outright in so many words. They imply it. Romanticism puts the woman's feelings at the center of the relationship. You can't stress this point enough. Yeah. Don't let romanticism be at the core of how you talk and stand up for and how you are as a person or with the other person. It's romanticism is just a lot of gaslighting where a woman holds the reins. Mike K. Says, I got that one about 7 years ago. I ended up leaving her because she said if I loved her, I'd show compassion towards her kids. Problem was, her kids were out of control, one being arrested for addictive substances. I've never heard it since and will put myself into any position that'll hear it again. Yeah. A lot of women don't want to be judged. I had a couple of exes say, don't judge me. That's like, why? What have you got to be? You already kind of know that's something you're not proud of. But someone who doesn't care to talk about the things that they're not happy about or they're not proud of, it's good. It means they've come to terms with them. They've faced them. So if they've got bad kids that they're not proud of and they say, don't judge me, don't judge my kids, it's kind of like, not a good sign. It means that they've got things in their life that needs to be fixed, but they don't want to. This really sucks big sort of commented on the post I put for this video. Keeping your woman happy just so she doesn't leave. He says, women live in a world of doubt. You can't keep them happy. At best, you can keep them distracted. Hence the old saying, keep them barefoot and pregnant. Yeah, distract them with enough responsibility that they can stop nagging you. But then again, if you've got an incompatible person, that might be a solution, but that's locking you in, that's chaining them to your ankle for life just to be able to be with someone. if you pick a more compatible partner, the chances that you need to keep them distracted are less and less. I think this lockdown has shown that a lot of incompatible people are separating because they've got nothing to distract themselves with. So if you are going to be with people, if you're going to have relationships, pick compatible people as much as you can. Yeah, she's hotter than any chick you've been with. She's got a better body. That's not going to last. It can't. Think about it. The hotter she looks, if you don't do everything she says, you both feel it's incompatible. You're both pushing a boulder uphill. She's going to leave because she's hotter and she knows her value. And you'll think, oh, she did me a favor, but at least I had a hot chick. You're wasting time. You're heartbroken. And if you hold that as a standard, like I had a hot chick and I don't care how much she busted my chops, you're just going to look for another woman that's hot, that hopefully busts your chops a little less. They're not good standards, guys. But do what you want. Come back in 5 years and watch some more videos I made. Thomas says, nice sunny winter's day here in Melbourne. Human. Yeah, it is. It's a nice sunny cold winter's day. JJ says OnlyFans is like the stock market crashing for HOES. Pretty much. Women invested all their money into OnlyFans and it's like it went bust. It's kind of like, yeah, but I spent all my money here. I'm broke. It's like, I don't know what you're going to do. It was a stupid investment, but you wouldn't listen. Look, you can make short-term a lot of money, but if it's glaringly obvious that it's short-term, say OnlyFans still existed, you only got a small window as a woman to exploit your youthful looks and your body. You get older, you become invisible to just your physical attributes. Even the best-looking older broad is kind of going to be invisible to the young chicks, right? It's just the way it is. You get older, parts of you, like, it's over. Forget it. You can still keep trying to look like a clown and Botox and go to the gym and have abs as like a 50, 60-year-old chick and like, oh, look at all these young guys I get. Yeah, they're banging you, but you're not happy. You're still alone at home with your cats. But what do you do with someone who's got a willful disregard of reality? All you can hope is hopefully the pain gets enough that at one point they can't do it anymore. Unfortunately, a lot of women get to that point over 50. And it's like, I'm glad for your own mental well-being you've suddenly realized, but now it's also up to guys if they want to have anything to do with you, which 99% don't. Sorry. They'll have a conversation with you, but they don't want to be with you anymore. You can't expect to be at the party, you know, dancing the night away, riding the carousel in your 20s and 30s, and if you're lucky beyond, and then get to your 40s and 50s and go, okay, now I want to get serious. It's like, no, you're forced to get serious now. There's a big difference. People want genuine people for relationships. A man can tell when a woman's forced to submit to being a better person because she has to for survival's sake. Because you can't trust her. If times get better, she'll become hard to deal with or leave again. You're not going to commit to that. You'll commit to it short term, i.e., you can get banged if you keep yourself in shape as a woman till your old age, but you'll never feel at home with a guy. You'll never be in a really long-term committed relationship. because that's what you've fashioned yourself after. A fun chick. Just the guy says, I have no problem with people capitalizing their looks on OnlyFans or whatever. People have been doing this for... I have no problem as well. But the thing is, when you want to get the job of a wife or a committed boyfriend or a man, that on your resume goes against you. Sorry. Do whatever you want. You're an adult. Fine. I'm not saying that adults can't make the choice that they want if they're responsible for it. But if your choices now require another person to accept you, you can't demand it. You know? Sorry. Just like me, I can't demand that every woman like me, especially if if a woman wants a really rich guy and I'm not rich, or a woman wants a guy who's 6'6", I'm not. Everyone's got their standards. I can't throw a hissy fit. It's like, but you should. You're being unfair. No, you're not. You got your standards. Not every girl's going to be for me. But somehow these chicks who think too highly of themselves think they're like, what's wrong with men that they don't want me? Surprise, surprise, men have standards too. And one of our standards will be like, we're not turning strippers or OnlyFans women into housewives. Place yourself in our position. Or better yet, place if one of you ladies had a daughter, a son, and he said like, oh, I'm going out with this train wreck on OnlyFans, mum. You want to take a look at her? You as a mother would say, yeah, I know I had an OnlyFans page, but take it from me, you don't want to go out with her. There's so many red flags. Oh, really? But there's no red flags for you. That's how other guys see you too, sweetheart. You have to make things very self-referential for women to get the objective example. That's one thing that annoys me. I can explain to guys through a metaphor that your decision is wrong or unfair because of the unfairness between this and this. And a guy will go, yeah, I see the objective example. I see what you mean, human. With women, you say like, here's the metaphor. It's like, yeah, but I don't feel that way. You have to really make a personal anecdotal example of them, and then they go, oh, now I see it. It's like, it's so frustrating that you can't see the equality of a subject. That's why women don't care about the feelings of a lot of men. They don't place men as an equal back and forth in the conversation. They only see themselves. So many women are so self-referential that they can't even see the fairness. They only see, no, give me fairness. What about returning the fairness? No, first me. More me. Maybe, okay, hopefully they can use the money to keep them warm at night. I don't know. JJ says, these women are beautifully wrapped garbage. I'm just going through the remaining comments, guys. If you've got any questions, make sure you put a whole bunch of emojis right before your question in the stream. Otherwise, I won't see them. I'm going to go through the remaining questions that I can see in the comments, and we'll head for the finish line for today's stream. Trishan says, lazy guys attract lazy girls. Birds of a feather, same feather flock together. Yeah, I suppose, in the respect of if you're a bimbo, a himbo attracts the same. Although then again, you got people, like intelligence doesn't really correlate all that well a lot of times between intelligent men and women. Take a look at Elon Musk. Very intelligent. He just turns into the average guy when it comes to women. Yeah, hit the thumbs up, guys. It helps the channel out, and make sure you're subscribed, because if you're not active on the channel, YouTube sort of looks at any channel with inactivity and treats them as like ghost subscribers, like they're not real or they're not interested. Unfortunately, like, YouTube wants you interacting. They want you clicking on ads. They want you constantly resubscribing, hitting the like button. So if you keep hitting the like button, from what I've heard, you stay subscribed. But if you don't interact with the channel, they don't want you as a passive watcher. They want you as an active one. And if you're not active, they'll make you active. So hit the thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell. Any more questions, guys? Yeah, look, a lot of these channels, guys, like some people have sort of suggested that they'd like to hear a conversation between me and some of these really big Manosphere channels. But I don't know, it wouldn't be an interesting conversation, because a lot of them, they're either about game or finance or, you know, macho posturing with cars and getting rich and getting jacked. I'm just trying to have, I'm trying to get men to think better. My channel's just philosophically interested in the things I'm talking about. And some channels, all they do is just do gotcha videos about, like, oh, look what women are doing today. Look at this article, look at that article. And I don't hate any of the other channels, guys. I respect all of them. And it's also got to do with personality. Some of the guys I could probably have a good chat with, but the chat probably wouldn't be very long or interesting, given what content they produce. I wouldn't be able to sort of give much value to their audience, and I don't know how much they'd be able to give value to mine. I don't know. But most of them, they seem like good guys. It's just the conversation would be pretty short. I don't know. It's also personality. From what I've seen, the only person in terms of the popular PUA style women, it's all about women channels that I see out there, the only person that I feel like I get along with the guy pretty easily would be Better Bachelor. He just seems like a very similar, he's more introspective than a lot of the other guys. A lot of the other guys seem like a broken record. So there's only one or two guys that I feel like I like their personalities, but like I said, like how long could you really have a conversation? You'd probably have to outline exactly, I'd need to agree with what topics we'd agree to talk on. And then if we both agree that, yeah, we could provide value to both our audiences, then maybe. I don't know. Feral male. When I was talking about where you can't turn a stripper into a housewife, like a lot of women don't want to be judged and they want to pretend that their past life, that was me then, but now I'm a completely different person. No, you're not. You're the same person, but now you can't do that. If you could still be on OnlyFans, you still would be, and you probably wouldn't be my girlfriend now. But now you're sort of lowering your standards in your eyes. You're putting up with this. But if something else pops up where you can be an OnlyFans chick, you probably don't want to be with me anymore. And Feral Male says, yeah, just like you can't pivot from being a mass murderer. I can't even say that. You know what I mean? A mass... So stupid I can't say simple words. You know what I mean? A mass murderer to a kindergarten teacher. If you're trying to apply for a kindergarten teacher and you've got felonies, you're not going to get in. And most people would say, no, that's perfectly reasonable. That's the same reasonable mindset a guy who's serious about family or a committed relationship has. Don't care that it's offensive to you, but you need to look in the mirror and be responsible for your relationships going forward, and teach the girls younger than you that don't make the same mistakes as I made. I went on OnlyFans and I screwed my life up, and now I can't find a man. You don't make the same mistake. But women don't do that. They drag other young women down under with them because they can't bear the thought of taking responsibility. It's a beautiful war. Thank you for the donation. He says, don't forget to hit the likes, fellas. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Listen to It's a Beautiful War. Hit the like, hit subscribe. More coffee. This is a broad question. Anal says, what are some subtle red flag, I can't even say that word, that men need to look for while dating? A lot. But most importantly, again, it's not the external. If you're going on a date with someone who's just pretty, and it's like, I don't care about, whoa, that's odd, or whoa, I don't agree with that, they're red flags. Trust your instinct. Talk with her. But more importantly, you should be able to say whatever you want. Be yourself the same way you're with your family and friends that enjoy your company and they like who you are. If you're with her in the same way and you can't talk or get along, and you feel like you have to edit yourself and you have to talk like Romeo on a date, you can't let the real you out, that's a red flag with you. Let yourself out. The more confident you can say what you mean and you're honest with what you say, you'll be able to see when someone's being dishonest, where they're incompatible, where they don't align with you. So it's not a matter of, there's obvious red flags, and a lot of guys still ignore it. So what are some red flags that men need to look out for? All the ones they forgive because she's pretty. Like, what are your main things? Like, if you're an introvert, is she an introvert? What does she like doing through the week? What do you like doing during the week? Is she an outgoing person, but you're an indoor person? Is her lifestyle more doing this thing that you hate, but you're just going to accept it because you want to be with her? Don't do that stuff. It's red flags is, a lot of guys rely on red flags as like a 10 commandments to have sort of on paper in their head as something speaking for them rather than having an attuned ethical standard. Have a righteous ethical standard that you expect from the woman that's compatible with you. Do that. You don't just go on a date going, there's a pretty woman, what do I look for? Come on. Before you go on a date, you should know whether or not it's someone you want to go out with, based on the conversation or based on her profile or whatever. Rod says, your thoughts in how to deal with a woman diagnosed with bipolar, chronic depression. Yeah, don't bother. It's too much hard work. Why would you want that burden? Let me guess. Because she's pretty? Because she's good in the sack? You're going to base your relationship with that? It's like, my life is hell, but the bedroom's pretty good. Cool. Good for you. What do you want? How do you want to live? If your life was great before a girlfriend, and then with this kind of girl it's going to be worse, don't do it. Speak up. Voice who you are. Be who you are. Don't accept it. You have to accept that kind of person in that relationship, or you don't. You don't say, how can I fudge my way out of it? T-Dog says, Human, do you think society will continue to reward juvenile behavior, or will there be some sort of eventual disruption? Great chat. So far, I think they're continuing to do it. We've sort of, with social media, we've ingrained it. It's the modus operandi of the way we communicate and get along and date and on all this stuff. People don't kind of meet up. We can't even go anywhere to meet up. So we are dating digitally. When I started dating, online dating was very new, and no one would say they met online because it was embarrassing. Now, if you said you met in the real world, people look amazed at you. How did that happen? Everyone meets online these days. That's why. Anyway. JJ, when are we hanging out for coffee? That's right, JJ lives in my state. One day, man, we will. I've just been pretty busy. I haven't even this is the first live stream I've done in a couple of weeks. I've just had a lot of stuff in my life that I had to deal with. Not female related, but life has just gotten in the way. Blimp says, any plans to take questions as call-ins maybe in the future? Textual conversation doesn't get it across anytime. Emoji spam questions. I've thought about that. It's a lot of work to try and fit in because there's a lot of editing that's done. This is kind of a one take. It is the way it is, and people are used to it. Whereas even when I do recorded conversations with people, it takes me the better part of 1 or 2 weeks to sort of edit the whole thing so it sort of comes across right. And also, the person calling in, I don't know what they want to say. So a live call-in show's a bit... I may, but then I need someone to vet them before I talk to them. So it's a bit more involved. My friend Karu suggested it on doing it on Discord. That might be an option. So people log into Discord, they can listen, and then they go into a section where it's like the green room. They're vetted what their question is, whether they can get to chat to me, just so it's a sensible question, or it's something interesting, or something that I haven't answered a million times before. So I'll have a think about it, but it's just kind of something that I need to fit in. I've got a pretty busy week, so yeah, I've had a few people ask whether I can do more of a call-in show thing, but it means it's just a lot more work on top of the stuff I already try to do every week. Yeah, don't forget also, some of you guys were asking about me having a conversation with some other channels. Don't forget, it'd probably be a better conversation if it's a young channel that's more mature and is wanting to have a discussion with an older guy who's had a bit more experience. But some of those guys, their audience is young guys and they like talking about young guy stuff. I wouldn't be able to provide much. I'd just be kind of quiet and rolling my eyes and like, well, all right, keep doing that if you want. So it's all about the kind of person I'd be talking to, their attitude, if they have a live and let live attitude, even if we're different. So whereas a lot of guys, they're in the mind space that I was in my 20s, which is fine, but I'm a very different guy philosophically to where I was back then, and I can't talk from that point of view. I can say, yeah, I remember I was like that too, or I wasn't like that, or, a lot of them, they just want to talk externally about women in the world, and I don't find that interesting unless you can reference the personal. I probably get along more with the older guys. Manfred says, is there any possibility of Western countries ever throwing out no-fault divorce? I don't see anything changing until that. Yeah, I think if they got rid of no-fault divorce, that would cure a lot of stuff. Basically, get rid of all the concessions women get. Basically, push it back to more old-school assessment. If you get divorced, who's the one initiating it? Who broke the vow? And there better be a good reason, because you remember it was sickness in health, richer for poorer. If you can't get out of divorce easily, a lot of women start thinking about who they sleep with, who they choose as boyfriends. It's no longer, oh, I'm just having fun. No, this can lead to something serious. And you just can't give marriage a shot. It's basically, this is it. The only way you're getting out is really extreme cases that can be proven. So I think getting rid of no-fault divorce would be a big step. I agree. JJ, write a book. I may one day, but it'll be a kind of more personal book. It's not about it won't be about men or women. It'll be about some of the stories and little chapters in my life and what I learnt. And so hopefully, I've always found those personal books more elucidating. Like, oh, that's interesting. That's a good way to, that's I could have dealt with that way. There's a person that went through something similar, and this is how they processed it. How would I have done it? I can take a piece of that. Rather than talking about dead subjects like faceless women, faceless men, faceless governments. It kind of really depersonalizes the problems you're having, because the problems a lot of guys have that I talk about, that guys that watch my channel, is they are personal. Okay, guys. If there's no more questions, let's wrap it up in a sec. If you've got any more questions, write them in the comments with a whole bunch of emojis on the right. And yeah. How long have we been going for? It's been nearly 2 hours. It's been a long stream. Over 200 viewers, which is nice. Super Freezer says, at what age to marry? Once you're an adult, as soon as possible. The way human beings have been doing it since the beginning of time. Women are the most fertile when they're younger, in their early 20s. Men want them the most in their early 20s. Everything makes sense. All right, guys, if that's it, thanks for joining in. It was a good stream. And let me know your comments in the comments section. And I think it's been a very, very interesting topic lately about how little men see themselves as mattering with a woman, a relationship, marriage, or whatever you're in, or whatever you've been in, where it's just, if you love me, you do this. Like, it's your job. You're an employee here. Getting guys to see themselves, they're in a tennis match. They're in a team. They're, if you're in a basketball team, if you're center or you're a guard, you have your position to serve the team. So if you're in a relationship, the relationship's the team. You've got your position, she's got hers. And you don't fight. You know who let down the team. Play your role. Play your position. No, you're not just a person that plays every position and they sit sit there pretending to play with you. They're not. So it's all about, yeah, realizing you're there, guys. Like, so many guys are just empty vessels going around wanting to be filled up by women, by jobs. Validate me, fill me up, fill me up. You should be doing this as a guy. Okay, but you can't actually ask her, like, you should be doing this as a girl. Make me a sandwich. So, anyway. Self-reflection, know your values, know how to speak. I keep repeating it. It's the only way out, guys. Ethically and philosophically is your best way out. Then you'll be able to tackle everything. Then it won't be about what line do I say to a woman. It's you know the words. You're exercised in how to speak because you stand up for yourself. You speak like you do with your family and friends. Learn how to be you. Don't switch off you in front of women or jobs. What's there to... that fear. I'm too afraid to be me in front of another person. In the same way, in a job interview, I say what they want me to say, so I get the job. So with a woman, I'm going to act the same way. To get the job of boyfriend, I'm going to say whatever this female pretty interviewer wants me to say. Nah. Anyway, guys, have a great evening for most of you listening, and a great day for the rest of you. And I will catch you very soon. Bye.